Is the running back position being disrespected?
But see, the thing is that they run you in the ground
Right.
on your rookie contract.
Right.
And then they tell you, well, we can't pay you on the next contract.
The issue, Shannon, is this. When you're looking at somebody's birth certificate, not their stats, not their results, not even their durability, nothing. You're literally looking at their birth certificate as justification for not investing in them. I think that's cruel. I think that's a situation that's different than any other NFL player.
2024 marked a true turning point for the running back position. It was a true renaissance headlined by Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. This year alone, 16 running backs eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark, more than doubling the total of 7 from just 3 years ago in 2021. And I mean, for years, we knew that the workhorse running back was fading out of fashion, but now as defenses adapt to counter the golden era of aerial attacks, a new wave of dominant running backs has emerged. And in today's video, we're going to talk about why this is happening and why this newfound success for their position might mean bigger contracts are on the horizon. Because honestly, being a running back in the NFL is no longer a bad thing. And this is the running back renaissance going on in the NFL right now. Now, in 2013, USA Today did release this article. I'm gonna have it pop up on the screen right now. It's called "Mama, Don't Let Your Son Become a Running Back," because, well, the injuries that they were sustaining and just kind of the contracts that they were getting weren't fair. And honestly, it made some reasons, or at least some reasons, good reasons, I'll link it below, of why you shouldn't let your son become a running back in the NFL. And I mean, like, yes, you could argue too that besides the quarterback position, running backs normally are I'd say they probably touch the ball the second most on a team. I mean, especially when you think about a team like the Eagles who have Saquon Barkley, like, that dude's touching the ball like every other play. So, I mean, it makes sense on why they would think that, you know, he's going to be a part of every single highlight package or video reel that you see of the Eagles. But the tough thing to come by for a running back is, well, what we just saw this past offseason is not many of them get lucrative contracts. In fact, in 2023, the average running back made $1.8 million, which is less than the average kicker made at $2.1 million. The increased chance of injury has understandably scared NFL front offices away from spending big on the running back position. And I mean, to be fair, there's a long list of contracts that general managers can point towards as examples of why it's not a sensible use of their money. I mean, truthfully, even if we look at all 4 of the biggest running back contracts in NFL history, they've all kind of been disasters. Like, I mean, take Christian McCaffrey, for example. He played just 10 games for the Panthers over 2 seasons that followed his 4-year, $64 million deal, plagued by various different injuries before being traded to San Francisco. Then Todd Gurley managed just 2 seasons in LA after signing his 4-year, $60 million deal, as did Le'Veon Bell, who signed a 4-year, $52.5 million contract with the New York Jets as a free agent in 2019. He went on to have a season in which he averaged just 3.2 yards per carry, despite sitting out the entire 2018 season. So the 2019 season actually in particular decided, or at least became, one of the worst times to sign a running back, because particularly the biggest one that year that was signed didn't pan out and was just terrible about what happened. Like, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott set the record with his 6-year, $90 million deal with the Cowboys, with Jerry Jones celebrating the deal by telling CNBC that Zeke has arguably been our best player. Unfortunately, though, after one more excellent season, Elliott's play did decline, never averaging more than 4.2 yards per carry and no longer being the dangerous offensive weapon that his contract paid him to be, and instead was used as a center on the final play of that NFC divisional or championship game. Like, I mean, realistically, we need to think about it from an NFL franchises or NFL owners' perspective. Is like, when you see the biggest 4 contracts just completely turn out to be absolute disasters, you have no other way but to go about it by using the draft or trying to sign smaller contracts to these running backs in order to try to get the right value out of them, which is what we saw this past offseason. As a result, the franchise tag for running back declined from almost $11 million in 2015 to just $10 million in 2023. Like, I mean, what's crazy about the whole thing too is that not only was the running back position the only position group to see just a decline, but all the other positions saw very high increases across the board. Like, throughout their contracts, they all got massive pay ticks, like upwards, while running backs all went downwards. And when I say that, I mean, if we look at this graph too, linebackers saw their franchise tag increase from $13 million to $20 million, almost $21 million. And wide receivers saw their franchise tag increase from almost $13 million to almost $20 million. Like, I mean, hell, even tight ends leapfrogged running backs, going from $8.34 million in 2015 to $11 million in 2023, while the poor running backs were stuck at $10 million, only above kickers. Like, I mean, the running back position had reached an all-time low, emphasized by the fact that following the 2013 season, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, and Josh Jacobs were all allowed to hit the free agent market, with several other talented backs also available. And I mean, even if we look at this tweet too, as Christian McCaffrey pointed out on Twitter, there were some of the best players in the entire league, regardless of position, and they were all looking for new jobs. And trust me, because while coming into the 2024 season, while the running back state was in kind of a sad state, you could say, and there were just a lot of affairs with contracts and everything, there would also happen to be a renaissance at this position this year as well. Like, I mean, in the offseason, we saw so many guys on the free agent block, like Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, you know, the big names like that, that all just, and it's not even just those two guys. There's so many other guys that had spectacular resumes that were on the free agent block, and Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, that all found new homes and all had great seasons this year. Like, I mean, truthfully, they all were fantastic running backs and they all landed in fantastic spots and changed kind of the way we view the running back position now because of the seasons that they all had this year. Obviously, we all do know that the biggest free agent prize this season was Saquon Barkley, who signed a 3-year, $37.75 million deal before powering his way to over 2,000 yards and 13 touchdowns at an amazing 5.8 yards per carry. Like, I mean, Barkley was epic in his first season in Philadelphia, registering 9 games with 120 or more rushing yards, including the postseason, having managed 10 total across his entire 6-year tenure with the New York Giants when he was there. I mean, week after week, Barkley took over games and punished his opponents, grinding them down and delivering the killer blow in the fourth quarter. In total, Philadelphia gained 6,565 yards in 2024, with Saquon Barkley accounting for 34% of that. Like, I mean, he is genuinely a game changer and rightfully stuck his name into the MVP race during the season. And I'd even argue that that's the main reason why Philadelphia posted 14 wins and made the Super Bowl this year, which is why it's mad to think that he's paid less than the likes of Darnell Mooney and Gabe Davis, who each got paid $13 million in 2024. Like, I mean, do you really think they made as much of an impact on their team's overall outcome as Saquon Barkley did for his $12.5 million? And I mean, now the next best free agent signing that we all saw was Derrick Henry, who was paid a base salary of $8 million by the Ravens to run for 1,900 yards and a league-leading 16 touchdowns. With him and Lamar Jackson proving the mother of all headaches for defensive coordinators, Baltimore led the league with 187.6 rushing yards per game. This proved pivotal in helping them win the AFC North with a 12-5 record. And not only that, but Henry not only remained one of the toughest players in the entire NFL to stop, but his presence freed up space in the passing game for Lamar Jackson, who crossed the 4,000 yard mark for the first time in his career. Like, it's really hard to think of many players in the entire NFL more valuable than Derrick Henry, yet his $8 million base salary puts him around the Curtis Samuel range of wide receivers, receiving $2 million less than Brandon Cooks. I mean, even if we look at other free agents like Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, and Tony Pollard, also all had impressive 1,000-yard seasons on their new teams, spearheading an impressive effort by the running back position in general this year. Like, I mean, in 2024, 16 backs crossed the 1,000-yard mark, which is 9 more than the 2021 season, in which just 7 running backs crossed the 1,000-yard mark milestone. Are you looking for a new book this football season? BetUS is the answer. They have the fastest and easiest payouts in the industry, along with 24/7 personalized service, 365 days a year. Not only that, but they have live wagering on all major games, so if you see something mid-game and want to make a wager on it, you can. And the best part is you get 10% back on your net losses twice a year. And now look, you guys knew I had to come through with you guys for a promo code, so make sure that you guys are using code YouTube150 for a nice 150% deposit bonus on up to $2,000. That's right, we were doing 125%, but we said screw that, we're giving you guys 150% instead. Again, that is promo code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus on up to $2,000. Again, thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video, but for now, let's hop back into it. Like, I mean, truthfully, if we really start to think about it too, and just kind of how defenses are starting to adjust to stop the explosive play, then running backs are going to become more important than ever for any offense, just because of that too high look that defensive coordinators are trying to run now to take away the explosive plays and not putting as many people in the box, it's going to allow running backs like Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and the guys we've gone over in this video so far to have great years like we saw this year. Truly, ever since Patrick Mahomes' remarkable 2018 season in which he won the MVP with 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, the passing game has always been on the rise, with quarterbacks and wide receiver contracts going through the roof. Not only that too, but defenses have had to adjust, utilizing more too high safety sets. Similarly, teams are using more nickel and dime defenses like we saw with the Texans, who got absolutely manhandled by the Ravens on Christmas Day, which puts about 5 to 6 defensive backs on the field, therefore removing the number of linebackers in the box, allowing guys like Derrick Henry to just have an absolute field day. And because of defenses adjusting to this, offensive coordinators have capitalized on this by utilizing more pistol formation, which, as we all know, sets the quarterback up about 4 yards behind the center and the running back 3 yards behind him. Similarly, Doug Farrar of The Guardian took to Twitter to highlight how the Washington Commanders were targeting these lighter boxes and creating confusion with their pony personnel, which lines up 2 running backs on either side of the quarterback. When you factor in they added the threat of Jaden Daniels running the ball here, you can understand why defenses struggled so much against teams with rushing quarterbacks, just like Jackson and Henry in Baltimore. The Buffalo Bills also got creative to help their rushing attack, creating a jumbo package that saw them utilize 6 offensive linemen instead of 5. This helped the team achieve a success rate of 46.4% on rushing plays, which was 4th best in the NFL, in addition to helping James Cook score a whopping 16 rushing touchdowns after just posting 4 across his first 2 seasons in the NFL. And it's no coincidence at all either that all the teams that had great run games this season all made deep playoff runs once they were into the postseason. As crazy as this sounds, Philadelphia, Washington, and Buffalo all made it to the championship weekend after ranking 2nd, 3rd, and 9th in rushing yards respectively, with Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and Detroit filling out the remainder of the top 6 on the rushing yard leaderboard en route to playoff berths. In fact, the only team to make one of the 2 championship games without a top 10 rushing offense was Kansas City. But they also benefit from the services of Patrick Mahomes, who is arguably already the greatest quarterback of all time, or at least going to rival Tom Brady. Truthfully, just having a great running back at your disposal inside of an explosive offense while having or just seeing what defenses are doing to adjust to defend these explosive plays, just going to make your offense that much more balanced. And not only that too, but when you have guys like AJ Brown or Rashee Rice, or guys that can take the top off of a defense, it's going to allow them to take that pressure off of the quarterback too and let them run the ball a little bit more effectively as well. Even as I look at my notes too, when you just factor in how many running backs can be a menace as a receiver too, like Saquon Barkley, CMC when he's healthy, Tony Pollard, guys like that are actually dynamic game-breaking wide receivers, it makes it that much harder to defend them out of the backfield. Truthfully, it's they don't deserve the 2nd lowest franchise tag of any position group. It's absolutely crazy that running backs are getting paid that low, despite all the productivity and just the dynamic pieces that they add to offenses this year. It's absolutely insane. After all, how often does a team lose a playoff game and analysts all blame the decision to move away from the run as the reason why? 2 years in a row, the Baltimore Ravens have been criticized for not running enough, rushing just 16 times total in the 2023 AFC Championship game loss to Kansas City, before pounding the rock with Derrick Henry only 16 times this year against Buffalo. Another team that went away from the run in this year's divisional round was the Detroit Lions, who were criticized for only giving Jahmyr Gibbs 14 carries in their loss to Washington. Gibbs was averaging 7.5 yards per carry for his 105 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, before only having 5 carries in the second half. And the craziest part too is it doesn't stop there either. James Cook then averaged 6.5 yards per carry for his 85 yards and 2 touchdowns against Kansas City in the championship game, but was mysteriously only given 13 carries despite being one of the best Bills playmakers all year long. All of these came in losing efforts and were one of the first factors to receive blame from fans and analysts alike. It really did beg the question that, is this a sign of NFL teams still not fully adjusting to the run-heavy offense when the pressure is on? And could we see that change moving forward? Even if we look into the playoffs and just the one team that did stay so committed to the run, with that being Philadelphia, look how well that treated them in the postseason this year. In 2024 alone, Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry have proven just how valuable a dominant workhorse running back can be. Granted, they were dropped into pristine situations, but the offensive output from each has been off the charts this year. Barkley needs just 30 yards in the Super Bowl to break Terrell Davis's total rushing yards in a season, having also put himself in the mix for the MVP award, while Derrick Henry has churned out nearly the second 2,000-yard season of his career and led the league in rushing touchdowns at the age of 30. Truthfully, these two backs have single-handedly changed the future financial prospects of the running back position. And while it may be too late for them to fully cash in, the up-and-coming workhorse running backs will surely see an uptick in their value on their contracts. When you factor in how much Henry, Barkley, Jacobs, and even rookies like Bucky Irving transformed their respective offenses in 2024, I think it's fair to say that a running back pay bump is on the way. Regardless of the wear and tear, it's not acceptable that Allen Lazard, Adam Thielen are all getting paid more than Derrick Henry, and that Gabe Davis and Tyler Lockett are getting paid more than Saquon Barkley. A new era of running back play has arrived, and it will be fascinating to see how the dominoes fall when it all comes to negotiating the next big running back contract. Now, hopefully the lighting is good for this, because I'm just going to read this right now, but Nick Chubb summed up the injustice very well to ESPN in this article, and I'm going to read directly from it too. Hopefully I'll be able to have it pop up right here. If not, you're just going to have to look at me read it to you guys. But basically, he said, right now, there's really nothing we can do. We're kind of handcuffed with the situation. We're the only position that our production hurts us the most. If we go out there and run 2,000 yards with so many carries, then next year they're going to say, you're probably worn down. It's tough. It hurts us at the end of the day. And truthfully, it does. To go out there and have a season like that and then think that you're going to be all banged up and everything. Imagine if Saquon had the season he's having now and would be a free agent. Many people would be saying that about him, not that he just almost broke Eric Dickerson's record this season, which is crazy to me. This comment came after several elite NFL running backs, including Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Nick Chubb participated in a Zoom call in the 2023 offseason to discuss the dire state of running back contracts. It really does feel like things have reached a boiling point, and with the insane output from the 2024 free agent class, surely the new era of running backs has arrived.